Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. All right, Coach Kim here. We're going to talk all today about this thing that creeps up on you. I'm not talking about the pandemic, but it is a pandemic in our lives, right? Here are some of the symptoms. I don't feel connected to the things I felt connected to. You know, I was all about these kids. I was all about this job. I was all about having all the fun out on the town. And now it just doesn't feel the same. I'm beginning to realize that my age, like, what have I done in my life? Like, we get to the point where we start having friends. Like, I just had a dear friend who passed away. She did not know 5 years ago that this was the way her life was going to go. So we begin to think about what our lives mean and what the fuck are we going to do now? That's what we're going to talk about today. You're not crazy. You might be feeling anxious. You might be even feeling a little depressed. But the truth is, all me and my girls have gone through this. And prior to the pandemic, I would say maybe a year or so prior to the pandemic, I was beginning to realize that some of the things that I wanted, some of the things I desired just did not fit anymore. And that there was a way that life needed to change, or I was going to piece them out. Okay? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you can look at things differently. Because remember, that's what we learn. This is our love language here. How we change our thinking to end up getting to where we want to go, which is feeling good about our lives. And when the shit hits the fan hits the shit, which means that we realize that it's temporary, that even if things change in a major way, if you get a medical diagnosis or, you lose a cherished loved one, that you can come back from that in a way that makes you feel connected to yourself. That is what you're looking for. So in today's podcast, we're going to be talking all about how you can come back from the, shitstorm of life and how you can feel good about yourself. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's talk about it. I know for myself, probably a year before 2019, many of you all know I was a professional singer and I was also a teaching artist. And a lot of the things that had given me, I had done that for over 15 years, right? A lot of the things that had given me kind of this push were now not working. My relationship to my husband, even like my relationship to my friends, my relationship to my body, things just did not feel right. And with that comes me, I used food as a way to make myself feel better. So then my weight went up to about 265 pounds and my money was funny. And everything was just shouting to me that I needed to do something different in my life. But the courage to do that felt huge. So I just had to make sure I was recording. So here's what I want to talk to you about. You may feel like you're at the end of the rope. You may even feel like things are not going the way you wanted them to go. But I will tell you this, with the pandemic, I'm never going to touch my eye and my nose again, clearly. I will tell you this, coaching, what I do, helped change a lot of things. It allowed me to have someone reflect the thoughts back to me and to really see what it was that I wanted to have happen now. So, what I would say at first is for you to do what I tell my clients, my private clients, all the time. I just tell y'all to chill the fuck out. I tell you all to accept yourselves as you are. I tell you all that this may be the point of life. I remember reading this in some book where as you get older, your filter begins to decrease and you are keenly aware of the things that work and don't work for you. And so the first step in any real change, the first way to think about, how you can, master something new is to chill the fuck out and just accept exactly where you are. If you are feeling sad, if you are feeling anxious, if you are feeling like life feels difficult, I want to right now give you permission to give yourself permission to be okay with that. What? I was just talking to a private client yesterday, and she was talking about how she doesn't like making plans with people because sometimes she doesn't want to make plans. Sometimes she gets to the point where she's made plans and she doesn't want to do it. And I said to her, don't make plans with people. Call people up. Be the spontaneous friend. Be okay if they can't do it. Be okay if they even push back. Why not accept that you're the person who's in the moment and you say, what are you doing today? Do it to your 5 friends. Maybe one of them is able to do something, right? But instead of, she was like, I need to change. And I said, why? Why come? Why come you need to change? Why do you need to change? Maybe the only thing you need to do is think about it differently. Maybe what you need to do is decide that how you are it's you. So that's number 1, y'all. Some of the things that you're trying to change are bullshit. You need to keep those things. Some of y'all been trying to lose the same 50 pounds for years, decades. Maybe you want to accept that you want to move more, you want to eat healthy, and whatever happens with the weight, happens with the weight. That you want to accept your body, that you want to work on loving your body. Maybe the thing that you have been working so hard for the last, and y'all, decades, because if you're like me, I'm 44, decades, the things that you have been working for all this time, you want to relax and you don't want to do that anymore. You want to accept it. Maybe you're the friend that everybody says is too loud. Well, shit, own it. Be around folks who love you being too loud. Tell folks this is how it is. I have a friend who has the loudest laugh in the whole entire world. And when I'm around her, I'm not looking around at people who are looking at us with that loud laugh. I'm enjoying every single minute of it. I don't need her to change. I want her to be herself. And that is the byproduct, y'all. When you start owning who you are, then you are less likely to want people to be different for you. That creates 99.9% of your suffering, is you thinking people should be different than how they are. And the reason why you do that is because you done folded your ass up into all these little boxes and you're not being who you are. If you need someone who doesn't curse, that ain't who I am. Ask all my friends, even ask my mama. She hates when I say fuck. And you know what? That's okay. That's who I am. That's part of my personality. That is part of my regional color, is that I'm going to drop a F-bomb. So accepting yourself, and we're in this together. We're going to work through this process in the podcast. I have some ways that we can work closer together that I'm going to tell you about. But ultimately, think about the 3 things that you've tried to change. Like for me, one of the big things I tried to work on for years is my weight. And then I sought out a coach who helped me to understand that I could do weight in a way that wasn't restrictive, that wasn't a special diet, that actually allowed me to access emotions because I was using food. I was using food to not feel my emotions. Literally, if I had an argument with my husband, I would head to the pantry. It was unconscious. I'm not a binger. But I would go to the cabinet because it was a habit that when I felt any emotion that I didn't like, I ate my way through it. Just making that change helped me to drop 51 pounds. Well, there were some other changes too, but that was a big one, feeling my feelings. So that takes me to number 2. So number 1, we're going to accept ourselves, right? Number 2, some of y'all was like me. You don't allow yourself to feel your feelings. And as a result, you have all these other behaviors, like I talked about, my eating, my overspending. You have all these behaviors that you use to cover up not feeling your feelings. Resistance is going to kick your ass. Resisting how you feel is going to kick your ass, and it's going to be a reckoning. And let me tell you when that reckoning happens. It doesn't happen in your 20s because you're too busy running after your career or running after somebody who ain't thinking about you. Okay? It doesn't happen in your 30s because you're trying to undo all the shit that you did in your 20s and try to have some sensibilities about you. But in your 40s, in your 50s, if you have not learned how to feel your feelings, I'm talking about the happy and the sad, the pissed off. I'm talking about being pissed off at your mama. If you have not learned how to feel your feelings, shit is going to catch up with you. It just is. It just will. You know why? Because you are a human being who is designed to feel your feelings. And for so many of us, I tell this story, y'all. My daddy was killed by a drunk driver 6 days after my 10th birthday. And because I had such intense feelings about him, so many things I thought should have been different about him, I literally turned my feelings off, except in one area, dealing with big ass head boys. And that was the shit show of my life. Everywhere else, I remember a dear friend saying to me, "You don't even cry." I mean, yeah, I might cry at a funeral. And yeah, I might cry at an episode of Grey's Anatomy, but I did not allow myself to have my feelings for myself. Y'all, you're gonna have to learn to cry. Now, I have a saying, if I don't cry, I eat. If I don't cry, I shop. If I don't cry, I start treating myself like shit. Y'all need to cry because Brene Brown, Sister Brene, told me I threw the damn audiobook, I slid my phone across the room. If I am not allowing myself to feel my lows, I am not allowing myself to feel my greatest joy. And it is the truth. So we're accepting ourselves. The thing you try to change. Hey, y'all, let me tell you what I accepted. I don't fucking wear Spanx. I think, if you wear Spanx, that's great. I don't like the Spanx. I love Sarah Blakely. I think she's an incredible entrepreneur. She got millions and gajillions of people wearing the Spanx. I don't wear Spanx. You're going to get all this fupa. You're going to get all this belly. You're going to get wherever this belly is. That's what you're going to get. If you wear the Spanx and they make you feel great, good. It makes me feel great to not wear the Spanx. Okay? So I accepted my stomach for wherever it is. If I wanted to change, I push away from the table a little bit, get my exercise on to shape my body. But I don't wear the Spanx. Okay? And for me accepting my feelings, you accepting your emotions, you being disappointed, you crying, you being mad at people, you don't let yourself be mad at, you owning your anger. Honey, that's a whole nother podcast. We're going to get to that. Owning your anger. That's when you're calling everybody the motherfuckers. It catches up with you. Midlife is going to kick your ass if you don't learn to treat yourself differently. All right, I want to give you one more. And this is what I love about the podcast. I imagine y'all cooking with your AirPods in, unless your kids hear the cursing, or taking a walk, or being at the gym, or being in your car, whatever you're doing. Y'all, listen to me when you're doing something. Let me be your way to check in with yourself when you're doing something, right? So, the third thing, we talked about acceptance, we talked about owning your emotions. Let's talk about the third. This is a collective experience. We just had the collective experience that hasn't happened since the Spanish flu, the pandemic. Now, y'all, we was all sitting ducks, right? Looking at what was going on in China. And we had experience, right? We saw how there were different nations who had outbreaks of different, diseases, and it didn't get to us. I know I lived through Mad Cow, meaning that I saw that happen in the UK. Damn, the disease is totally skipping my mind right now. The one in Africa. By the way, when I was younger, I was obsessed with diseases. I loved learning about it, like African sleeping sickness and all that, but that's not the one. Y'all know the one I'm talking about, the one that was highly contagious, and it did get here, but our president at that time, Obama, helped to contain that. You don't like my politics? Hard left. If you can deal with me, I'm as liberal as they come. I'm actually radical sometimes. So there it is. But we sat there, we watched what was going on. We didn't have leadership in any way that told us this was happening. And then it was here, and it was here in a way, COVID was here in a way that we didn't expect. I lost an aunt and uncle. I had friends who got sick. I mean, literally, y'all, we were careful. I was outside at a friend's house. He came into town. Every single person around that table got COVID except me. Not at that event, but at different times. Every single person around the table. And I contacted the other guy and I said, I think we're the only people who didn't get COVID. And he said, I think I might have had it before, even then. And I was like, wow, I was the only person who didn't get COVID around that table. So here's the thing. It is a collective experience for us to feel this dissatisfaction. Because remember what I teach you, it's your thoughts, right? So you think a thought, my life should be different. It's the worst thought you can think. Instead of okay, let me help you out. You can think my life should be different if you follow up with how you like it to be different, right? But don't just leave yourself hanging. Like, my life should just be different. My life should be different. This shouldn't happen. My life should be different. No, just answer the question. My life should be different. How? Be creative, y'all. Maybe you want to roller skate naked and in the moonlight. Cool. So here's what you want to do is realize that collectively, now y'all know I'm woo. I'm woo woo. I am. Collectively, energetically, we were here to have this experience of this thing. Now, I'm going to be real woo with y'all. 2001, 2002, I read Sylvia Brown's book. And she talked about in 2020 there being a mysterious respiratory illness. I know Kim Kardashian said it too. And when I saw hers, I was like, holy shit. I remember sitting there reading it in the book. This thing happened and I don't, y'all, I always will give my disclaimers. I don't minimize how businesses have suffered. And excuse me, let me say before the businesses, how people have lost loves, lost family members, some family losing 6 and 7 and 10 people, losing children. I don't minimize that at all. At all, y'all. I don't minimize that. But collectively, we all went through this experience. And we had to look at ourselves. Had to look at our relationship to capitalism versus how we care for each other, our relationship to ourselves, our community. You gonna wear a mask? You're not gonna wear a mask. And going inside made us go inside. And some of us were not happy with what we saw. So that's a thing. Yeah, accept who you are now. Yeah, feel your feelings, but also recognize this collective event we have. And this collective event is not just COVID, it's a collective event. When you get to a certain age and period in your life, you're going to start asking yourself, what do I do next? How do I handle this? What do I want now? Answer those questions that come up, y'all. Collectively, I can speak for as a cisgender woman, as a Black woman. I can tell you those questions have come up with my friends. Those questions have come up with my LGBTQ plus friends. Those questions have come up with my gender fluid friends. What do I want now? We collectively have this experience. I told y'all if you get your cute asses out the 20s and you get into the 30s, the 40s and the 50s are going to ask you these questions. And the 60s, you're living that answer. You can start living that answer in your 40s and your 50s, but you don't get out of answering the question, which is, what do I want now? Who do I want to be now? How do I want to accept who I am now? How do I want to feel what I feel now? That is what you are after. Answer your questions that come up. And I'm going to give y'all a little bit of advice. I'm going to give y'all some good ass advice. Don't just answer your questions that come up, but give yourself like a little grace with how those answers come. And that means like give yourself time to like think it through and ask yourself, is that the right answer? And maybe even try some of those things you come up with, right? But then at some point, tell yourself, I'm going to live this answer right now. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to try and live another answer. And I'm not going to talk shit to myself and kick my own ass if I find out this answer does not work. Let me say that again. I'm not going to kick my own ass if I find out an answer I originally was going for does not work. Because number 4 should be, how do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to yourself when you're answering your questions, when you're figuring things out? Not kicking your own ass, I hope, because that only prolongs your pain and suffering if you talk to yourself any kind of way as you are trying to figure out your life. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Life coach, Coach Kim is telling y'all, don't do that. You don't have to believe your own bullshit to talk to yourself with love, care, and honesty, and a little sternness every now and then. But it's the way you decide to make that shift into what works. I could have told you 10 things that were wrong today, But what I decided to do today was look at what was right. I accept myself for who I am. I feel my feelings. I recognize that collectively, this is some shit we're going through, y'all. Like, this is supposed to happen. Like, you're supposed to re-ask yourself the questions. And when I'm ready, when I get an answer that doesn't work, I don't talk shit to myself. And that's what I want you to do. You went on a limb. You met somebody you loved. You gave it a try. It didn't work out. You gonna talk shit to yourself that you made it not work out? Or are you gonna realize that whatever's intended for you is for you? And this dude or this chick or, you know, whoever was there to give you some lessons, some insight, so you could figure out more what you wanted, so you could think the things that bring in what you want. All right, y'all. So I hope you found a way to take care of yourself. I want you to be watching how you're talking to yourself, because I'm going to tell you, kicking your own ass when you get to where you want to go only leaves you more upset, more angry. It doesn't. You get there and you realize, oh, I got here, but I still feel like shit. Feeling great while you're getting there is what you want. Like today, I have on, I think it's cheetah print. Is it cheetah or leopard print? Who cares? It ain't tigers. Tigers got the stripes, right? So I really kind of struggled with cheetah and leopard print. Y'all look real cute in it. It just won't me. And then I said, maybe it is me. And I put this thing on and I feel like $1,000,000. I had to change my thoughts that I'm not a person who doesn't do this or that, so that I can learn how to be playful, so I can learn how to experience more. And I want you to do the same thing. So I hope to see your cute asses here next week. And I want y'all to just let up a little bit. Let up a little bit on yourself. You got this. Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to KimArrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors. And you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.